I'm going to play for you a clip of Senator Joe Manchin basically spilling the beans about what he specifically really wants out of the Ukraine war and his, I guess, goals or ideals that he would like to reach. But this is a sentiment that is spread far and wide throughout Washington amongst his fellow colleagues, although they may not say it. Take a look at this video.
Committed to supporting Ukraine in every way possible, as long as we have the rest of NATO and the free world helping. I think we're all in this together, and I am totally committed as one person to seeing Ukraine to the end with a win, not basically resolving in some type of a treaty. I don't think that is where we are and where we should be.
Can I just follow up and ask you what you mean by a win for Ukraine?
I mean, basically moving Putin back to Russia and hopefully getting rid of Putin.
So moving back to pre-February, or out of all of Ukrainian territory?
I think Ukraine is determined to take their country back.
And also getting rid of Putin, you said?
Well, that's going to be the Russian people do that. This is Putin's war, it's not Russia's war.
I see.
So I think what Roger has said there is absolutely true, but I'm just speaking as one senator. Basically, I believe strongly that I have never seen, and with people I talk strategically, have never seen an opportunity more than this to do what needs to be done, and Ukraine has the determination to do it. We should have the commitment to support. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
And I just want to outline once again, this is a sentiment that is spread far and wide throughout Washington, and they all believe in this. Joe Biden and everybody else that are the most ardent supporters of this proxy war in Ukraine. And so what I want to do is, as you digested all that, I want to go through his specific remarks because they're quite amazing, to be quite honest with you. And the one that I want to start with is probably my favorite in this entire thing. And it's and you've heard this plenty of times before, especially over the past couple of years, we're all in this together. So as he's speaking about the war in Ukraine, he talks about how, we all have to come together, and us and NATO and the West and everybody, the free world, I believe is what he said. We're all in this together, except we aren't. The most populated places on this planet do not agree with U.S. policy as it pertains to Ukraine and their current treatment of Vladimir Putin and Russia. They are not in agreement. Places like China and India, etc., they do not agree with current U.S. policy. We are, in fact, not all in this together. By the way, that's a remark that, as I've said just a minute ago, you've heard a lot before. Remember when the entire COVID situation occurred and everybody was scared and we didn't really know what to do and you couldn't leave your house and there were so many different problems, this and that? What did the politicians tell us as they sat in their mansions? We're all in this together, is what they told us. They even got the celebrities to come out and do the same shtick as they were fed food by their butlers and their maids clean their houses. Oh, we're all in this together, guys. We can do this. We just have to stick together. Wow, the hypocrisy of that statement. We're all in this together. As the American population struggled with COVID, many people lost their jobs. We got wage cuts. A lot of us didn't make it through. Obviously, if we're talking about COVID deaths, literally over 1 million of us did not make it through. Yet somehow they want us to believe we're all in this together. And Mr. Manchin wants us to believe that we're all in this together as it pertains to the war in Ukraine, when we're dealing with an inflation, when we're dealing with a business class that wants to do nothing but suck the life out of the labor force, when we're dealing with a situation in which we can't even safely send our kids to school anymore without fear of them being shot by deranged gunmen with unknown motives. But somehow we're all in this together with Ukraine as we almost unanimously send them billions of dollars to help the war effort, when that really is just money going to the military-industrial complex for, of course, corrupted reasons. But let's move past that insanely ridiculous statement. He also says, and this is something here, and he's not alone here. They all believe this, his colleagues alike. He says that Ukraine needs to win. There should be no treaty under no circumstances. So he says, fuck peace in Ukraine. Mr. Joe Manchin does not believe in peace. He wants to further the bloodshed. He wants to continue to see Ukrainian soldiers and Russian soldiers perish. And so he wants Ukraine to win. And it's this sentiment that we've been getting ever since the war kicked off, that Zelensky somehow needs to hold on and they just have to wait and eventually the tide will turn. And you're seeing in U.S. media how they're, printing propaganda about how the war effort is going and it's turning in the favor of Ukraine when it's actually going quite well for the Russians. I actually want to read you a tweet here. This is from Brahma Chalani, or however you say his name. He says, Zelensky admits Russia now holds 1/5 of Ukraine, the largest country entirely within Europe. What he didn't acknowledge is that Russia controls Ukraine's industrial heartland, 90% of its energy resources, including all of offshore oil and its critical ports and shopping. You have no idea about that if you watch MSNBC, Fox News, or CNN, or read the Washington Post, or Forbes, or the New York Times, or whoever else, because they're not talking about it. They want to paint this as if the good guys are winning and the bad guys are about to suffer a major defeat, when that is not the actual reality. Okay? People are really underestimating just how much propaganda they're being hit with and how much obfuscation is being done away from the truth of this entire situation. But let's zero back in on this win. How does he suggest Ukraine win? What would equal out to a W in the mind of Mr. Manchin here for Ukraine? Well, he just told us. And by the way, him saying this so blatantly and just outright, it's amazing, isn't it? It's just like, what was it, the congressman that was on some media outlet, whether it be CNN or whatever, and he just outright called it a proxy war. They're just recognizing it for what it is, and they're unashamed. But he says that he outlined for us what a victory would be. Mr. Manchin told us that a victory would equal moving Putin back to Russia, taking back what was stolen, and the Russian people, to put the cherry on top here, pushing him out of power. So he wants to overthrow the Russian government, much like Joe Biden alluded to, and he claimed it was a Freudian slip. It wasn't. This is what they believe in. So, when I was a kid, I used to think that I wasn't interested in politics. In fact, I hated it. I thought it was stupid and boring. And the people that were supposed to be in charge were indeed in charge, and the smartest people were doing the hardest job. Well, that's not the truth at all. These people are fucking idiots. This guy has this comic book, movie style simulation type idea that he's concocted in his ridiculously irrational brain of somehow Ukraine is going to win, and then we're going to push Russia out, and then we're going to overthrow Vladimir Putin. Like, all of this is going to unfold somehow. He's thought of it. It's the best he has, and this is eventually going to be reality. It's idiotic. It's absolutely idiotic. These people lack the ability to think rationally and live in actuality. I mean, this is just warped thinking is what this is. It's absolutely insane. And he also alluded to, at this forum, what I just read to you, taking back what was stolen. He was basically alluding to the Crimea incident, when Putin took Crimea. But this is an article from Forbes, and I'll just read you the title, and I'll link it down below if you would like it. The article is the following. 1 year after Russia annexed Crimea, the locals prefer Moscow to Kyiv. So when they do the different polls, Moscow is much more popular than the Kyiv government. I mean, it's absolutely amazing, but you're not going to know this. So he wants to take away something that they prefer more than what they previously had. There you have it. I mean, this is outright amazing. And just to put the ending conclusion on this, he said there that this is an opportunity to do what needs to be done. And he said that they are going to use Ukraine in order to do it. And do not be fooled. Do not be tricked by words that they use like support and commitment. And we have a duty to uphold democracy and push away evil that we're currently facing. No, that's not what this is at all. This is simply another ploy by an empire in order to hold on to what they previously have because they feel their grasp is slipping, and it's slipping very, very quickly.